Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the TJ Ritchie Show, the podcast-only edition. I was rudely taken off the air again tonight because of a ball game. I think they're trying to tell me something at WBT. I think they're about ready to fire your boy. Fire somebody who works voluntarily, but still, I mean, that's how you know you're bad. Whenever they fire you and they don't even pay you, they fire you from being a volunteer. But anyway, we're going to try to get a little something going tonight, kind of cover a few of the issues, because I said if I'm not on the radio, I will do podcasts. And even though I could have just taken the night and gone to bed early, I'm not. I'm here. So one of the big things that's going around in a virile moment and in the news is a woman at a Los Angeles workout facility, and I'm trying to remember which one it was, because I want to make sure I get the name right of the facility that she was working out at. Sorry. I should have looked this up already. Let's see. Well, it said in one of the stories that I saw, and then another one didn't. It's not saying, but anyway, she's all upset. She complained because she was, and I would play her sound bites and all but she's cussing in it, and I don't have the people available to bleep it out on the podcast only edition. I'm down some hands. So she's upset. She was coming out of the shower or changing clothes or whatever. She said she was completely naked, and a man walked in. A man who pretends to be a woman walked in, saw her completely naked. She was startled, and she says, "Excuse me, sir." And then before she could say sir, he started crawling all over her and telling her she's not going to talk to him that way, or not going to say he's not a woman and he doesn't belong in there and whatever. So she goes out and she complains. Well, the gym did what they should have done. They had no other choice but to tell her to get out, and revoked her membership because she was so offensive to the man that walked into the women's locker room and saw her naked. Now, this is in California, and people in California are nuts. We know that. They're absolute lunatics. But again, this comes up as, what is the left's position? Do they care about women, or do they not care about women? They're supposedly they're the party of feminism and protecting women. The Republicans and conservatives, we're the ones who are misogynists, and all we want are Stepford wives and trad wives and all of this stuff. Meanwhile, women in leftist areas cannot even expect to go to the gym in the women's locker room and not be violated. And yes, a man walking into a woman's locker room and seeing a woman naked when she wasn't expecting him is a violation. I mean, I don't know. I thought we were kind of over that. I thought people had awakened in U.S. America, and that we weren't having to deal with those kinds of things anymore. But then again, it is California. Now, let's just take that to another level. All right. Imagine if, let's say, some little girl walks out of the women's locker room. She's gone to work out with her dad, And she's in there, and I say little girl. I guess you can't be in a workout facility working out unless you're at least 16, something like that. But let's say she's 15 or 16, and she walks out and she says, Dad, a man just walked in there and saw me naked, and he's pretending to be a woman. Now, a normal dad is going to want, well, if it's a normal dad like I was raised, is going to try to get in there and drag his ass out of that women's locker room and beat the crap out of him. As he should. I know if it's me and my teenage daughter is in a public restroom or locker room and she walks out and tells me that some man came in there and saw her naked, I am probably going to beat the crap out of him. Now, this woman who complained got kicked out and her membership revoked. Imagine if a dad in California beat the crap out of some man in the women's locker room seeing his daughter naked. What would happen to him? How much prison time would he get in doing something that he should do? You know, if there is a guy who pretends to be a woman and he really does think he's a woman and he's on the treatments and all of that stuff, he's still not a woman. But you don't even have to, this is one of the kickers, you don't even have to be on any type of treatment or live any certain way. All you got to do is say, I identify as a woman. You don't have to change a thing. So a pervert, this is what, when Pat McCrory was the mayor of North Carolina, the governor of North Carolina, and he was running for office to be reelected. It was during all of this, because this transgender stuff exploded in Charlotte. It was where it went nationwide in Charlotte about the bathroom issues and all of that. So I gave him 2 ideas for political TV spots. In the business, we call them spots. We don't call them ads or commercials. They're called spots. So I called him one day and I said, I have some ideas for some from TV spots for you. He said, oh, great. Email them to me. And I emailed them to him. And one of them, I told the story. What would happen is you got a woman who is, running on a treadmill or an elliptical machine. She finishes her workout. She grabs her towel and her water bottle, and somebody's speaking to her as she's walking back to the locker room. Says, you finished for today? Yeah. Ooh, I went, however many 3 miles today in 30 minutes. Oh, look at you. Da, 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 da. And as she's walking into the women's locker room, 2 men are walking out of the men's locker room, and they see her and they see how attractive she is. And she's going in to hit the showers. One of them looks at the other and says, are you feeling like a woman today? And he says, as a matter of fact, I am. And then they turn around and walk into the women's locker room. Then it would come on and go, Pat McCrory is against this. Roy Cooper celebrates it, or whatever the slug line would have been. Then there was another one. I said, is it a scraggly, perverted old guy standing outside the women's restroom at a Target. The mom's checking out, and the little girl says, Mommy, I have to use the restroom. And she goes, oh, there it is right there. Go ahead. And so she walks in, and then the perverted, scraggly looking guy clips on earrings and then looks around and then follows her into the bathroom. And the same thing. Pat McCrory is against this. Roy Cooper is all for it, or whatever. But Governor McCrory didn't use either one of those to make any TV spots. I don't know. Maybe it was a bit much, but it was absolutely true. Both of those things could easily happen, because all you've got to do is say that you identify as a woman, and then you get access to the women's locker rooms and bathrooms. And it doesn't matter who's in there. It doesn't matter what you see or how much you're enjoying it. If they say something about it, if they complain, they are the ones who are ridiculed, not the perverts. So, evidently it's still going on. I remember the story. It was in California, I think in San Diego, of a woman who had taken her daughter to a spa day at one of those day spa things. And they go into the women's changing room, and there's a man walking around there completely naked inside the women's room. Her daughter saw him in all of his glory, and she was young, middle school age. Saw his, his business and everything, just walking around there naked, not trying to cover up. She went out and complained. She got kicked out. This is just insane. How have we let this happen? It's because we've been bullied into being afraid to be called homophobic, transphobic, and so forth and so on. So that's why every night when I'm doing the TJ Ritchie show, TJ the Realist Ritchie, I'm saying we cannot be afraid to speak up in these types of situations. We can't be afraid of what anybody's going to accuse us of being. Whether it's men have no business being in women's facilities, or radical Muslim Islamists, communists don't have any business being elected officials in the United States. We can't just sit back and not say anything because we're afraid of what they'll say about us. Who gives a damn what they say about us? We have a country, a culture, and a society that needs to be saved. Are we going to do it? I will. I'll do my part. I will do my part. Unapologetic conservatism wins every time. All right, hang on. We'll do a couple more segments coming up. Hang on. Welcome back to the TJ Ritchie Show, podcast only edition. No frills, no fancy sound effects and all of that. Just raw, in your face, unapologetic conservatism. Okay, so I hate to say I told you so, but I have told you so over and over and over. We went through the whole thing the other night about Stephen A. Smith. Oh, yeah, Stephen A. Smith. He'll say something every now and then that agrees with Republicans, and Republicans fall all over themselves. Oh, Stephen A. Does he have a shot at president? Should he run for president? And I always have to tell my fellow conservatives, calm down. Stephen A. Smith's not on your side. Stephen A. Smith is a grifter from time to time, but when it comes down to it, he is a solid liberal, and he's also a solid race baiter. Oh, sure, he'll criticize people from time to time, when they make race an issue on certain things and all that, but that's just smoke he's blowing, because he is full-blown, always crying racism with something here or there. He just thinks it softens it a little bit because he'll call somebody else out for turning something racial when it shouldn't be. So, I'm sure you've heard of this by now, but the Miami Dolphins are terrible this year. I'm sorry. The Miami Dolphins is terrible this year, because Dolphins is one team, which, and even though it sounds weird, it's not. The Dolphins is terrible, and their coach is weird, and he's not a typical leader of men, as they would say. He's not a manly guy. He's just kind of, nerdy and a dweeb and all of this. So, I guess they fired the general manager or somebody in the front office who's black, and Stephen A., of course, had to jump on that and call him out for firing the brother, as he says. Let's see if we can hear that.
BS. That's the first fire? Really? That's what we doing? Well, what we've seen, what we just finished talking about, there's things that need to be modified, et cetera, but the personnel that they have on their squad, although we're not happy with it, we didn't walk into this season thinking they were going to be trash. We looked at their roster and we said they got some potential. We'll see what happens. It was about Tua. It was about Mike McDaniel. And the brother get fired first. All I know is this. I better hear Mike McDaniel's name today.
Oh, my God.
I better hear Mike McDaniel's name today.
But
it better not be just Chris Greer. And I'm not saying that he don't deserve it because of the way they look. At the end, you at the helm. I got it. I understand it. Listen, I'm all for brothers as head coaches, GMs. We know what battles I've been fighting for over 30 years. Okay, I got it. All right? But because when you don't get the job done, you don't get the damn job done. Period. I got it. It's BS.
What he doesn't get, the stupid SOB, is that Mike McDaniel, the head coach of the Miami Dolphins, looks white, but he is a brother as well. So they didn't just go after the brother, Stephen A., which I'm sure he knows that by now. He's made a fool of himself. Mike McDaniel's dad is black. So he's, what Stephen A.'s deal is, if I may, and I guess I may. First of all, let's look up, what's his name? Coach McDaniel. Let's see. Let me make sure I got that right. That I think it's his dad who is African American. Early life, was born in Aurora, Colorado. He played football, wide receiver, graduated degree. Hang on. Personal life. McDaniel is biracial. His mother is white and his father is black. Okay, so TJ the realist Ritchie was right again. Okay. So Stephen A. Smith is so quick to jump onto the side and pretend like he is speaking up for the black man or the black woman, because he gets a lot of flack from the black community for those occasions where I was speaking about, where he does call out people who are turning things racial when it shouldn't be racial. So he tries at every opportunity to jump out there and go, see, I am for the black man. Don't think I'm not. Don't think I'm not. I am for black people. Except it seems like he was judging this book by its cover. Now, of course, he'll say, I'm in this business. I'm in the sports business. You're going to tell me that I didn't know he was half black. I know he's biracial. Yeah. So, again, I must say, please stop running and giving examples of Stephen A. Smith doing something you think is making him conservative. Even though Mark Levin loves him and Mark Levin has him on his show, and I love Mark Levin. I have nothing but huge respect for Mark Levin. He's brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. But he's fooled by Stephen A. Mark Levin is a sports fan. And to him, Stephen A. Smith is exceptional because he's a cool kid because he knows all about sports. And that comes through whenever he has him on his show and everything. I just wish he wouldn't do that because Stephen A. Smith is not worth it. And then people seriously talking about, Stephen A. Smith being presidential material. Get out of here. Man, just a bunch of clowns. Are we just amongst a bunch of clowns here? Ladies and gentlemen, we must be. We must be. Okay. So I have an update here, something that I think is pretty funny. It's not an update. It's actually a comparison. It's probably an old clip. I found it a long time ago. I mean, I'm sure it was posted a long time ago and I just found it. And sorry, I'm sounding a little clumsy here. I'm just trying to get everything because I'm having to get these things from different sources because I don't have them edited because I don't have a staff doing just the podcast tonight. Okay. So, this is a comparison between, a Canadian official talking to their citizens about, people breaking into their homes. And then you'll hear the Canadian first, and then you'll hear one of the best sheriffs in all of the United States of America. His name is Sheriff Grady Polk. Sheriff Grady Judd from Polk County, Florida. Okay, so Canadian man is first. Listen.
In the unlikely event that you find yourself the victim of a home invasion, we are urging citizens not to take matters into their own hands. While we don't want homeowners to feel powerless, we urge you to call 911 and do everything you can to keep yourself and loved ones.
Criminals are going to take their criminal conduct into the neighborhoods. I would tell them if you value your life, you probably shouldn't do that in Polk County because the people of Polk County like guns. They have guns. I encourage them to own guns, and they're going to be in their homes tonight with their guns loaded. And if you try to break into their homes to steal, to set fires, I'm highly recommending they blow you back out of the house with their guns.
Now, I heard that clip years ago of Sheriff Judd, but I hadn't seen the comparison of the Canadian official with Grady Judd. It's awesome. Love that. Love it. And why aren't there more people like that? Why can't there be more people in the United States of America, officials that would just stand up and tell the truth? We are allowed to own guns to protect our property. Why not just say citizens are allowed to protect their property? And a warning to you criminals, hopefully if you break into their houses, you will get blown away. Why is that so awful to say? It's so awful to say because the Democrats in this country for so many years have controlled the narrative, and they've made America and American ways seem like they're wrong. It is the American way to protect your property by violence if necessary, deadly force if necessary. Now, I get it. The argument that some people would have if somebody is running away from your house with something they stole or whatever, you don't shoot them in the back because they're no threat anymore. But I don't know. That's the law in my state because I'm a gun owner and I'm obviously. And if somebody's coming in your house and they're posing a threat to you, you can shoot them, drop them dead right where they are in your house. Or even if they're just trying to break in and you tell them to not or they're trying to break in. As soon as they open that door, you can shoot them. But if they break in, steal your stuff or do something and then take off running, it doesn't matter whether they're still on your property or not. You can't shoot them in the back because they'll say the threat was over. But the threat is not over at that point, because if somebody else, there's going to be a threat. He's going to threaten somebody else. I don't know. It's a tough one, but we should have more officials reminding people you can kill somebody coming into your house if they're not wanted. If they're coming in that house to do you harm, you should do it. Exercise your right to protect your property and your family. All right, hang on. We got more coming up. All right, here we go. More of the TJ Ritchie Show podcast edition only. Podcast only edition. Thanks for listening. I am the Green-Eyed Patriot, Charlotte's Mr. Charmed and Dangerous. Oh, and big news in Charlotte. They have hired a new chief of police, a.k.a. chief of police, for the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Department. Now, you remember Johnny Jennings was the police chief prior to this hiring, and somebody on the city council did something and said something in a city council meeting, and then Johnny Jennings threatened to sue for slander because he found it to be disrespectful to him. And then the mayor and some other people got together in a secret meeting and decided on a payout of like $500,000 or something to Johnny Jennings to keep him from suing. And the whole thing was just shady, and it was a bunch of crap. So, and then a lot of people were accusing them of the guy who said the thing that was offensive, like he wanted, I don't know what he was saying, but it wasn't anything offensive or whatever. That guy was white. Johnny Jennings is black. The mayor's black. Other city council members are black. And so they were saying it was a racial issue and so forth and so on. So really good stuff, really solid stuff when it comes to police work in a dangerous, dangerous city. That's what the hell we need to be worried about, is the chief of police getting his feelings hurt over something that a city council person said, and then all of a sudden gets a payout. It just stinks. It just stinks. So they announced the new hire. She is from Raleigh. Her name is Estella Patterson, and she is the first female black chief in Charlotte history. Okay. Everybody's making history. Great. Good. Now, I was listening to the radio today, and I heard someone who, I guess he's the city planner or something. His name's Marcus something or other. And Brett Jensen from WBT asked him, about the applicants they had and how many of them. And he started talking about it was a hard choice. And then they found her, and she was overly qualified and blah, 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 blah. And I just wish that I could ask one question, and that would be, was there ever the slightest chance that this chief of police position could have been filled by a white man? Just, is it possible? Would it have ever been possible? Just be honest. Did you waste the time of any white men by interviewing them or pretending like they had a chance at getting this job? I would just love to know what the response would be. Maybe he did. Maybe it came down between the two, and the African-American lady was more qualified than the white man. and had a better record of law enforcement and, cleaning up towns and whatever. But I'm wondering if they even let any apply. If they even considered them. I don't know. Maybe if I ever get a chance to meet this Marcus fella, I'll ask him. And I will. I ain't scared. Now, speaking about racial issues, I'm always talking about what the left has done to people to prey upon their emotions and their fears and keep them walking through this country not able to enjoy the freedom and the freedom that they have in this country. The left has caused people to put barriers on it themselves. They put barriers on themselves so they can't enjoy the freedoms allowed in this country, because they've always got them worked up into thinking that everybody's racist and everybody's homophobic and everybody's this and this. You know how the lunatic left is. Now, I found this clip of a young lady who is, this video was done recently, so it's way after COVID. She's still wearing a mask on the streets. She seems to be, and looking at her, she appears to be biracial as well. Biracial as in black and white. And this young lady asks her a question on the street, and this is how that went.
Privileges that white people have that you guys don't have.
If I were to
Said, what are privileges white people have that you don't have?
walk across the streets in the dark as a black, queer, female presenting person, I would not feel safe because I feel like I would be pretty targeted. But if I were a white cis man, I don't think I'd be like the type of person someone would come up to and hate crime, because that's just not what happens.
Talk to me about some of those privileges that...
So let's listen to that again. Now listen to the language that she's using. This language that the left has concocted, and that's one of the things that a communist is always hell bent on, and that is to change the language, to make everything that means something mean something else, or to always keep people wondering what you're talking about, or how do you know that you've said something offensive when it wasn't offensive yesterday, but now all of a sudden it's offensive. It's just weird. Just listen, concentrate on the language that this poor soul is using. Okay, listen.
Talk to me about some of those privileges that white people have that you guys don't have.
If I were to walk across the streets in the dark as a black, queer, female presenting person, I would not feel safe because I feel like I would be pretty targeted. But if I were a white cis man, I don't think I'd be like the type of person someone would come up to and hate crime, because that's just not what happens.
As a black queer person presenting as a female. What? And if I were a white cis male, that's not the type of person that would be hate crimed. Honey, bless your heart. She has been completely mind poisoned. And a lot of them talk that way. As a queer, as a black queer person presenting as female. What do you mean presenting as female? Are you not is that a guy? See, that's the thing. You're presenting as, that doesn't even have to be in reference to somebody who's pretending to be the opposite sex of what they are. Like if I said, my name is TJ the Realist Ritchie, and I am I'm a white, straight presenting as male, then that just means that I'm a straight white male man. I'm a man. Just say it. What are you? She appears to be a real woman, not a trans woman, which is a man pretending to be a woman. So, and the Marxists in this country, these commucrats, they're proud of that work they've done. They're proud of it. Look what we've done. Look what we've accomplished. White cis men. Now, cis means you're the sex that you were born. Okay, you present as the sex that you were born. So I was born male, so I'm a cis male. My wife was born female, so they would call her a cis female or a cis woman. Maybe this is a man. Maybe that's why she didn't say she is a black queer cis woman. Maybe she said, I'm a black queer person who presents as female. But you see what happens? These Marxists, these communists have put all of these words into play because they want to tear down our culture. They want to tear down our traditions. And the first place you start is with the language. I dare say that most 56-year-old men, which is what I am, I'm a 56-year-old cis man. Your average 56-year-old man in America doesn't know the stuff that I just taught you about what a cis man is and what presenting female means and all of that kind of stuff. And that's the way they want it. Because they want people to not know America and the normal things about America as they have been forever anymore. They don't want us thinking that way. They don't want us to be normal Americans. They want us to be confused, chaotic, at each other's throats. They don't want unity in America, no matter how much they claim to. They just don't. And while I'm thinking about it, I'll get more into this tomorrow night. I think, I'm not going to be on the radio tomorrow night, so I think it'll be all podcast, and this may be the entire focus of it tomorrow, so make sure you're checking back. The conservative movement is in trouble. I didn't say the MAGA movement. I mean the conservative movement is in trouble. And it's just typical of Republicans. We get together, we do something as a party that is great, that the country had to have, which was, electing Republicans in the last election, Donald Trump. But Republicans just can't stand it. There always has to be somebody who jumps in and says, no, I'm not doing that anymore. I'm the real conservative, and they're not real conservatives, and Trump sucks now. I regret voting for him, and causes all of this chaos within the party. And then what's going to happen? The Democrats are going to steamroll Republicans if we don't get our crap together. You say what you want to about Democrats. Sure, they're vile, disgusting, evil, narcissistic psychopaths. the professional Democrats are, but they stick together. And they have one goal, and that goal is taking over America and maintaining power over the citizens. Nothing gets in their way. Not us. Nope. It's just like everything's great, and then somebody's got to lose their damn minds. All of y'all who still think Tucker Carlson is the SHIT, think he's so cool. He's not. Tucker Carlson's a piece of shit. See, I didn't even spell it that time. Tucker Carlson's tearing what we have right now apart. I mean, if you don't know he's a maniac, just listen to the way he talks now. He's not even the same person he was when he was on Fox with his show at night. He's a maniac. He sounds like he's, on meth, the way he talks. Not accusing him of being on meth, just saying he sounds like he's on meth. Sounds like he's on the high-speed chicken feed. That's what the truckers call it. But again, I'll get more into that tomorrow night. I'll put a bunch of stuff together and fill you in on all that. But I don't know what we can do about that. I really don't. I don't. So maybe we'll figure it out together. You and I will figure it out together. Okay. So just a quick podcast for you tonight. Get a little info out there. Thank you for listening to it. Thank you for always supporting me. I love you, and remember, God loves you, and ain't nothing you can do about it. Talk to you later.